He's gonna come out here and lick y'all, knock the microphone over his tail, and let me yell at him, and then he goes does what I said. But when y'all leave, he'll go. No, he go sleep. He's that dog. Like, if ain't nobody else here, Troy, I don't care. Like, plenty of times he'll come upstairs, and I'm like,
that's shiggy too.
Why didn't you bark? There's 4 people sitting in the office.
I know, I'm walking right in and he's just sitting there looking at him.
I'm like, come on, bro. Like,
supposed to be where the dog is.
Alright. But as soon as you you stood in front of him, he stood behind you, he got all paranoid. And then like, you can't see both of y'all. I'm like, shut up.
Pretty threatening.
Yeah. She never tried to bite nobody unless like 2 times people got arguing with me. He's like riled up.
Yeah,
calm
me
down,
man. Yeah, I wouldn't.
I was like, you calm down.
Yeah, that would probably help.
That's what I told him. I was like, you calm down, he'll calm down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be telling you when the dog. Yeah, that's a bold strategy.
This is his house.
Yeah, for real. Tell the dog to calm down. Chew a little bit. All right. Y'all ready, man? We'll just jump into it.
Cool.
All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Spread the Positive podcast. I'm your host Trent Denson. Got a familiar voice to the podcast, Mr. OJ Beane. What's up, OJ?
All right. I'm back again.
Yes, sir. And we got Troy with Legacy Inc. here in Murfreesboro. Just wanted to kind of follow up with the For the Bill event we had this past weekend, and just kind of looking forward to some future collaborative efforts and all that. But wanted to speak to Troy on just kind of all the Spread the Positive topics, because he's a textbook example of everything we're really trying to showcase. So really pumped to have you on, Troy. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
Troy.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. All right. So basically how we usually do it, OJ's been on a couple of times, so we've kind of got his backstory, and I just like OJ's energy and what he brings to these podcasts. So.
And that's positive energy.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that's known.
Yes, sir. All right, so Troy, just how we usually do it is a little backstory, like where you're from, how you grew up, early passions, and everything along those lines.
Okay. I'm a native boy here from Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
Grew up originally from Franklin, Tennessee. Been here pretty much my whole life, back and forth between a couple different places, but Tennessee's home. I guess, man, where it all started out, my passion for doing what I'm doing is just my upbringing. My upbringing was brought up with 5 other siblings, and we always had to look out for each other. We had to always take the next step of knowing what we were taught and applying it.
Wow.
And that just led to me just being able to do everything I wanted to do in life, because I was never told no.
Right.
I was always just pushed to do what you do what you want, then think about how it affects you.
That's right.
So that just led to me being creative in a lot of different ways. Art and music was my first interest. Fashion and clothes, that turned into that, and then it just turned to me being a creative with everything I do.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, we do T-shirts primarily here at Legacy Inc., but that's becoming a byproduct.
Right.
Just something that we do. We do more than anything. I always tell people we find creative ways to connect people to their community.
That's everything.
And
that's everything.
That's,
spread the positive.
Yeah, that's it. That's spreading the positive and
Yes,
focusing
sir.
on that. Particularly, man, I just know with me, I feel like it's just one of my callings for God to do that.
Yeah.
He gives me vision to see these things, and then I've put myself in a position to work with the people that need this and can provide this.
Yeah,
So I just try to be the conduit and move out the way.
that's a solid answer, man. That's good.
Yep.
So Troy, when you was growing up, were you like what was your fashion like? You know,
I mean, like
school,
in school, and it still is today. It's like people they look at me sometimes. I don't wear the particular average Joe thing a lot of days. I mean, I wear what's comfortable. Might be something that stands out to somebody else, but that's me. My passion and flair for understanding fashion and what sells comes from me being a product of the 80s. Comes from me coming from a middle class home, and Michael Jordan put his first shoe out in '87. I was 5.
Yeah.
You know,
it's pretty ideal time.
Yeah, it's perfect timing. So when I'm 5, and 3 years later he has 4 pair of shoes out, I'm 8.5, 9 years old. I couldn't afford them.
Right.
I mean, my mom wasn't, making millions of dollars. Still isn't. Not saying that's what you need to afford them, but
Right.
it was at the point where still then a $70 pair of shoes wasn't economical.
Yeah.
So my first hustle understanding it is that the kids in school that did have the shoes they were spoiled in the way thinking they were better than people.
Yeah.
So
That's not
my mindset was, how can I balance these things out? So I became very, very, very proficient in drawing the shoes that the kids had. So I would literally just take my schoolwork, turn it over, draw their shoes, and sell it to them.
Got 'em.
And it was that simple. It was just like, hey,
Yeah.
instead of getting an extra milk and extra, freeze pop, why not just get $2 extra a day
There you go.
by just drawing the shoes on their feet while I daydream in class?
That's so smart.
And
That's brilliant, man.
that turned into me just understanding, economics of things. You know what I mean? This is actually supply and demand.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, you couldn't tell me anything.
Right.
Growing up, further just becoming an entrepreneur. From the time I was 15 to the time I was 21, I worked for a gentleman who has a landscaping company. He had 3 degrees, he never used them because he didn't need to. We had every school in Williamson County. At that time, it was 21 schools. He had them all under a 5-year contract. So when I noticed that from 15 to 21, how you manage people as resources, as well as doing your business, it was a wrap. There's one more step. So when I got to school, MTSU, where I graduated from, I came in like 99% of the people want to do something in the realm, recording industry music. So sophomore year, I guess you would say when I got into music theory, and I realized music theory was not what I wanted to care about. My passion for fashion just flashed in my head. And from there, I switched my major over my 3rd semester in school, so my 4th semester in school, so my sophomore, 2nd semester. And I never looked back. I knew at that point it was two ways of that industry was either merchandising and design. Merchandising is everything that facilitates up to the sale and up to knowing what the product is, where it's made, and how to put it together. Design is the facilitation of those processes. So I knew it was people that have been sewing their whole life. I'm 19, going on 20 at the time, so I'm like, I can't start there, but I know what sells. So I go into the merchandising end of the program, and we started our first clothing line in the college. Me and my partner Samaj Thomas, Revolution Clothing. He's still part of Legacy. Yeah, still my partner to this day.
That's so cool.
Our sophomore year in school, we became roommates. My junior year, his senior year, we started a company which transformed into Legacy Inc. Revolution Clothing was our first one.
That's so cool.
We sold the shirts on campus. We got a $500 loan from my aunt, paid her back within a week, and we realized we needed more shirts.
That's amazing.
Long story short, there highlighted that we almost got kicked out of school, which was cool to me. It was funny at the time because we didn't know. Yeah, we didn't know you couldn't sell products out of a dorm room. That's a state-run facility.
Okay.
So so someone pulled the fire alarm in our building, and we weren't in school or in our rooms at that time, and they checked all the rooms. And they seen them boxes and receipts and shirts. So we were kind of scared at that time, but they gave us an ultimatum: either quit selling or find another school. So we just shifted all our stuff to our girlfriend's room.
Done.
It made it work.
That's amazing.
Stepped out of school. Started an internship with Vanity Fair, VF Imagewear in Nashville with Red Cap. Worked my butt off with there from the time I graduated to 3 years later. And then 2008 hit and the economy fell down and I just jumped out. I was just like, at this point, they allowed me to save up enough money to do what I wanted to do, and we started Legacy.
That's a crazy time to start that.
Yeah. But I mean, in my mind, it was always a learning curve. I knew I wasn't going to be there forever. And then what really made me start was realizing, like they say, a dream deferred. At that position, there was a position open in California. Those that don't know, Vanity Fair is the biggest vertically aligned clothing company in the world. They own JanSports, they own Lee's, they own North Face, they own Nautica. They do all the cutting and sewing for Vanity Fair. So there's a job position open for the North Face in California, and they hire from the inside. So I go up, I apply, I get the job. But as corporate goes, it doesn't matter if you get the job. You have to be signed off by your senior boss. She's retiring a year later. She says she doesn't want to develop another team. So I'm 24 years old, you're 60 years old, and you tell me I can't go further because you don't see the potential in me not being here?
That's frustrating.
So I do the smart thing just when they're asking people whether they want to continue or they want to be bought out. buy me out. And I'll keep the 401k plus 20 grand saved.
There you go. Done. There you go.
You know, and like I said, from there I took the lessons of being able to manage $1 million budgets weekly to managing the first hundreds of dollars for budgets to to measuring like $1,000 budgets now. We even took the same concept that we met as a group, as a team that were managing $1 million worth of things every week, and that's 10% of what we're managing as a sector. I would do that here if we're managing $10 every week.
Right.
You know, and that was my trial and fire in entrepreneurship, and then hitting the ground running when we first got the building here in Murfreesboro. We had clientele because we had been doing this through school and while we both graduated, but it was nothing like having a new responsibility over your head of paying rent at your apartment and paying rent here, and realizing that I got to go get a lot of sales, or I might be living at the shop.
Right.
So it wasn't, some people say it was that scary. It was like, nah, it was really inspiration to push.
Yeah.
I just, figured I had to talk my butt off every day. So it was nothing but cold calls, 30 to 40 cold calls a day. You know what I mean? And then just nothing but pounding on doors and getting familiar with the community.
Wow.
Because one thing that kind of set us back as a business, which is, applies to other businesses, we're in a small town, and the market for screen printing here is kind of monopolized by a few companies that have been here 25 years or longer.
Right.
But how I circumvent that is that I always tell them I'm not your competition, I'm your partner. Because when you have to go out here and keep these big contracts, you have to train salespeople. You're not training me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just need a margin of what you're getting, and I'll bring you the sales. And that's my whole approach.
Yeah.
And a lot of that rubbed some people wrong. With people that understood business, it made them endear me.
Yeah.
Because they understood that, okay, if this guy's going to go get me sales, I'm not worried about making 65% margin, but it'll take a 35%. But I don't have to pay somebody else $40,000 a year plus 6 months of training. Done.
Sold.
And that's initially how we started the company too. We worked for another company. I worked for another company for a year and a half, and I told him over and over and over, I want to do this one day. I want to do this one day. I guess he thought I was an idiot. He seriously, and it's not a knock on him. Is that he would listen it and just take it with a grain of salt. And then one point he couldn't hire me because the business is cyclical and it goes up and down. So he's like, I can't hire you. I'm sorry, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I'll keep coming in. And my whole mindset was like, yeah, I'll come in when I can. You can't force me to come in. If I got 10 or 20 extra hours a week, I'll come in because you're teaching me how to fish. You know what I mean? So when you think you got a dumb guy pulling in your nets for you, you're not realizing you're telling him where all the fish hit.
Yeah.
We pull nets in from over here, that means there's fish over here. So if you teach me how to clean screens, then you need me to do the screens. If you teach me how to print, you need me to do the print. If you teach me how to run the front of your office, you need me to do the front. So within 3 years, he's taught me all of that, and then I hired Samaj as help for him because he needed another printer.
Right.
So now that guy's our biggest contractor.
That's so awesome, man.
And that's why I always tell people too is don't, like on the spread the positive shift, don't ever look at a person of where they are. Look at where you think they could be. Because that's what he was looking at me as. This guy's willing to come in and help me, but he's not looking at what I keep telling you. I want to do this one day. And then you let me go without signing a non-compete clause.
Old strategy.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
You the businessman, and you took me as the stooge.
Right.
But I went to school for business and you didn't. So who was really the stooge and who was really the teacher? You get what I'm saying? But I don't knock you. I just do what anybody else says. If you don't protect yourself, I sell you insurance.
That's exactly right.
And so
That's
I mean,
textbook,
that's it, man. And from there is just applying my principles to everything. My principles is if we both don't win, I don't do it. And if it doesn't impact the community in a positive way, I don't consider it. That's just simple and plain to me. And some people say that I move slow, and I tell them, well, I see stagnation, I see stability. Because you don't have to be the biggest. You just have to be the most that can be the most flexible and the most giving in anything you do, and you'll stay in business.
So glad.
Yep. And so it's like a slow grind, but that slow grind has allowed me to have solid connections. Literally solid connections where I can call on people that people would never imagine. Like, how did you pull that off? Because they understand the principles of why we work and how we do what we do. Another motto is mine is relationship today, $1 tomorrow. I don't want your money if we can't grow together. Because it's gonna be a point where you step on me to either get a deal, or I drive the price up to get you to drive go away. So why even have those things there when we can have a whole nother relationship? Say, what are you trying to accomplish? If I can't do it, I can point you in the right direction. And if I still can't get it done, I can get you a discount by favors that are owed to me. As simple as that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, a lot of people all the times, you come from shirts, you really come for attention. Because that's what shirts get you.
Yep.
So I don't look at what do you want in a shirt. I look at what else could be added to you for attention. Do you need a radio ad? Do you need do you need a television ad? Do you need anything on the radio? On anything on social media ads? And we just build from there. And it's just a wonderful thing. And then other people that I work with as partners of ours, like say doing signs. We don't do signs. I design signs and I lay them out, but I send them directly to the company that I get signs through, and I give them my discount. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, I can't give you a discount on a shirt, but I can save $50 on your banners. Why would you go to anywhere else?
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
So moving on, just you kind of got into some of it, but just on a daily, day-to-day basis, how do you? You spoke on being positive in the community and stuff, and you're super positive in general. But how, like, do you have any routines, tips, general thought processes, or anything along those lines?
That's a hard one. It's a hard one and it's the easy one at the same time. You're human. I mean, I'm a cancer.
Yeah.
I know me. I'm crabby half the time because I'm in my own emotions, and then other times I'm overjubilant and people don't get it because I'm trying to get out the emotions.
Yeah.
So what I look at a lot of times is stabilizing your mind on a goal. Like giving myself a goal that I want to accomplish that no one else has to help me pursue. And I always tell myself it's never just me, it's me and God. So when I look at it something as if I don't have a team or I don't have somebody that can help me stay focused, I look at why I do it like anybody else. Like, so for instance, with the things that he was speaking of, the event I just did with For the Ville, it was put together in 3 weeks. Came out very well, but I don't stress that. And everybody's like, how did you do it? I'm like, I just provided a platform for what they already do. So it's not to say my goal was to create this vehicle for the Ville to start connecting with people that are doing things and spreading the positive on a whole organic platform. So I just plug and play with those people already doing that, and then I just take on the stress of actually being the administrative glue to it all. You know, so when I wake up in the morning, it's like, what is my purpose of waking up today? No matter what bills I gotta pay, you know what I mean? No matter how I feel, no matter what the rank, why did you wake up today? Because if you don't focus on that, you'll wake up 30 years later and still be going through the same routine. Because it's only a better, like they say, a better rat trap is going to be built. So outside of that rat trap, it's like, God didn't give me breath just to come up here and print soccer shirts. I don't mind printing soccer shirts, but how can I get somebody else to pay for a shirt that your kid couldn't afford to get, but he wanted to play soccer? If I focus on that, everything else take care of itself. And then the positive part, how I stay motivated and positive, is I look at it like, what you give is what you get. So even when I'm in my mind, I have to be mindful of what I'm saying and what I'm doing. I'm looking at it as if that other person is me, and as if every action that I take towards that is going to have equal to double reaction towards me. Because what I put out is what I get, what you get back. And I mean that literally mean that.
It's scientific.
It's scientific, but it's like, if I'm mentally blessing everything, every situation in my head, even though it's like you speak to me and I'm saying, hey, if you tell me you got a problem, I can say a silent prayer. I can give you a silent point of reference in my head. I hope he does better. That's better than me saying, damn, sucks for him. You know what I mean? And that changes your whole perspective, because you can't look at anything as being too bad that you can't handle. And that's how I had to learn that. And meditation in the morning has helped me a lot. A lot, man. I mean, literally, it'd be times where I can get up and just sit in silence for the first 10 minutes between stretching and just focusing. The rest of my day, it's crazy. It's a lot more smoother. And then processing the problems as they come, because as a businessman, the thing is, you got to learn how to move on the pivot. Because you'll have a whole layout of what your day looks like. And then it's a knock at the door, it's an email, there's a customer coming in. Today, for instance, I'm printing, I'm the only one here on Friday. I'm downstairs, someone opens my door, the screen's called the cops. I come upstairs, I look like, what's going on? It's a lady laying in my parking lot here, just fell out walking, had a seizure. Blood running in her mouth, foam running in her mouth.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
The nurse across the street sees it, a nurse from over here sees it, they're in my parking lot. So first thing I do, I have to be mindful. It's like, dang, first thing I said out of my mouth was like, what next? You know what I mean? Like, what else? Like, can I get a break? And I'm like, you are getting a break. It's not you not laying on the ground. You are getting a break. She didn't fall out inside of your office. You get what I'm saying? So the best thing you can do is take time, pause, and assist in any type of way.
Yep.
And all I literally did was, till the ambulance came, was held up a newspaper over her to give her shade, while the other nurses made sure she was breathing.
And that's everything, though.
But it's the time to me to sit back and consider that, because an hour later I went and had lunch, and in my mind, like I said, I pray, you know, that woman is doing okay. But at the same time, I look at that as perspective of, it was a reason that you needed to pause, and there's a reason that you need to be grateful for your situation. You know, and that's what I took from it. Some people could say that's a load of BS, but I took it as like, hey, no, some people could. You know,
I'm sorry, I know.
I mean, literally, some people could, because as much as a good perspective you have, the pendulum swings equally the other way. So that's why I had to try to consider out of every situation. It's like, what is the good and the bad, and which one do you choose to believe in? Because like I tell anything, like I tell people all the time, it's like, if you really believe in the forces and the powers you consider God, the powers of the universe, however you place it, if you really believe in that, even if you don't believe in anything, why are you worried? You know what I'm saying? And that's why I just go back to the reference, like, didn't come from money. I came from hardworking people. I came from people that loved each other and loved God. So if I can make it from that perspective, and money's always going to be there, then money is not the issue. Time is not the issue. It's what you do with your money and your time. It equates to everything. You know, and just trying to keep an abundance mindset. You know, no matter what, no matter if a dime was made last week alone, every nonprofit that I had out there last week, I promised them they would financially benefit from this. You know, it was an issue that we were going to tie in profits from the profiting companies to the nonprofits. So I know the attendance was not where we thought it would be, but we know we're going to do the next one and get a higher one. So it's my obligation still to cut those nonprofits a check, but not ask my vendors to pitch in, because that's principle. If you didn't make $100, why would I ask you for 10% of it? But that shouldn't stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do for those that came out. And if all of that's done, all the other things that perceived and I took out of it, it's all mitigated now. It equals zero. And as long as I stay within that lane, it's like, you know, another saying is, if you make enough meals for enough people, you'll never go hungry. Especially if they don't want to know how to cook. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, and I try to teach people, that goes back for me understanding the principle of teaching someone how to fish. It's like, hey, if I wanted to learn how to cook. He was just dumb enough to let me be a sous chef without a contract. And didn't have a big enough heart to open it up. You know what I mean? But me seeing the bigger picture was, I turned around back to him 5 years later and put money in his pocket. You know, and I could have easily that day, the first time I met with that gentleman, I had his whole customer list in my lap. And I gave it back to him. Like, I don't need this. You know what I mean? But it is useful. You know what I mean? So let's figure this out. And that's just the leverage to it, you know, and that's my thing. And it's like, my ultimate goal with Legacy, I hope to build is a bridge, like I say, to show people how they connect to their community, but making people understand when they spend money with us, they spend money with the community. And then within that spending the money to the community, it's really seen, felt, and touched physically. So what we're doing is a thing I explained to Trent before. It's going to be called Building Your Legacy campaign. That every dollar spent with us through a shirt, we turn around and give back out to a nonprofit. So every month,
that's what we're basically doing.
Yep, and that's the same thing.
Yeah,
so that's the point. So I don't. That's what I say. Shirts are a byproduct here, and it's not that I'm making the shirts. It might be a shirt sold by another retailer, but they're sold through our retail avenues. And my point of the rest of it all, if they don't want to give, well, I'm going to ask my clientele base how much they think we should give. So it still goes back. So I'm not going to upcharge my customers. I'm going to say, hey, there's an opportunity for you to give. If you don't, how much should we get back this month?
That's really cool.
You know, and then they choose. Should we get 5? Should we get 7? Should we get 10%? Well, if you want us to give 10%, these are the numbers we need to hit. Can y'all help us get there? And that's it, man. I mean, that's it. And then just continuously connecting with people that have the same heart, the same message, the same thing, spread positive. That's why, to me, it's an obligation to do these things, because it could be done from another aspect that did not get the penetration. It could be done from an aspect that's half-cocked, and I'm like, I'm not about that. So the thing with this is just like seeing that there's real efforts into it, seeing that there's real people that live what they say behind it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's real. And that kind of transitions. You got any new tips or anything? Anything you've been implementing?
Well, Well, let me just ask
Yeah,
Troy
go ahead.
to elaborate for people out there that really caught on to the meditation in the morning and getting your routine started and how it impacts your day. You know what I'm saying? What for somebody that want to start maybe a meditation? Do you like go to a room by yourself? Or
I literally, man, it's two ways I do it. Depending on what I need to do and how I'm feeling. If I'm in a rush, I wake up. First thing my feet hit the floor, I do my push-ups, so I get my mind stabilized and focused, get my blood rushing through me. So therefore, at that point, I'm in a zone and I sit back for 10 minutes. And I don't block out anything in my head. Let all flows come through me until my mind is quiet. And then from there I go forward. Other times I sit in my bathroom on the floor on the yoga mat with the shower on, letting steam go through my nose, come out my mouth, and then it just opens up my mind because with the water in the background, it just gives me a tranquil background noise, and I zone out, man. And it just helps. And another step after that, which I didn't mention, is my whole thing in the morning is being grateful. I don't care. I wake up after I do that, meditate, eat, get my clothes on, I walk my dog before I take my dog before I do anything. So when I'm walking him, my whole time is a conversation of gratefulness. The other small things, every day, because it's like if you're not aware of what you have, you'll never know what you lost or the potential you have to give to someone. That's my thing, is the potential, because I never look at what I do until somebody tells me. Like just over the last weekend, I had people like, oh, man, thank you, appreciate it, man. I'm so proud of you. You're doing what you say you always do, and I'm not take that, two ways. Take it with a grain of salt, saying, hey, either you doubted me, which is fine with me, or you don't see what I see. Because it's on the beginning, but I appreciate it. Because I don't look at it. I just look at it. I want to get it done. I was say it's God in me, by Him through me. I don't look at anything else. That's what people like. You're everywhere. You're doing all of this. It's like you're looking at everything I'm doing. I'm focusing on what it is to be done. Because I can't look at my plate like it's all it is to eat. I've got to be some peas over here, some potatoes right here, some macaroni and cheese right here. Just get a little bit of it all, and then you go. But that day-to-day thing it's a mental thing, man. It's a real mental struggle because you have so many distractions and so much noise, but you gotta choose which one is that you're gonna pay attention to. I mean, and that's why I get lost. Cause I'm a creative guy. So some days it's just, hey, I want to be creative, but I have to do sales, I have to do production, I have to go out and do customer service. So what do? Okay, if I have projects and goals, I make sure I'm up here an hour earlier than I normally would be, or stay an hour late. You choose, because it's all about time and focus. So if I get here at 6 and I know Trent's coming here at 9, from 6 until 8, I'm not thinking about anything else but what I need to be thinking about to keep the other things going. That phone rings, I don't answer it. My girlfriend knows not to call me during that time. You know what I mean? Unless it's emergency. I don't care. If he's whining, my dog stays at home. I mean, because I have to give myself that with being a creative, because if not, I'm obligated from 9 until 5 to handle business so that I can have that creative space. And that's why a lot of people ask me a lot of times, like, you're so creative, how do you do it? I'm like, creativity comes through you. But you have to have you got to figure out the time that you can let it get out. Because if not, it just becomes stale. It becomes stale. And that's one reason, like I say, I created that event. That event had been in our making in our heads for 6 months. I put it out in 3 weeks because I was like, why hold it back? Is it gonna do it? It's gonna do it. If it's not, it's not. And my whole point of it was to do it right, connect with the right people, so we can line ourselves up to do it again. And that's what happened. So it's a success.
Ready for number 2, man.
And number 2, yeah. We were planning that yesterday. It's gonna be a back to school book bag.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna go.
We're actually teaming with couple more corporate companies and a couple more pro athletes. They're going to help. They already had their own back to school drive. Now we're just going to combine them together.
Nice,
to make one.
Real nice.
So we will be rolling that out second week in July. We start rolling out all the information on how people can be involved.
Cool. We're ready, man. That transitions really well into one of the signature segments, if you will, what we call What Is Going Right, kind of one of the main things with the brand in general. So any organizations, obviously, like For the Vills, textbook example, individuals, nonprofits, organizations, just anything according to Troy that is going right in the world.
It's going right to me is that people around me in general and people around the area are starting to utilize and understand their power of working together.
Yes.
That's what's going right with me. It's taken a long time for people to remove ego and to remove stature and understand that you create everything that you go through in one fashion or the other. So if you make it easier for someone else, it makes it easier for us all. And now I see that because I've seen it in many ways. Like you said, just from the event we did, that was one way I've seen it. Just from the way people are thinking and pursuing things that we're not seem comfortable to them usually does, but it's opportunities for them to grow. So with growth, they have to have collaboration. And so that's the same thing. For instance, one thing I could say is being able to be at the event we did last week and seeing people call me and say, "Hey, thank you for introducing me to this person I now have a partnership with."
That's real.
And it was nonprofits with for-profit companies that they did not even knew about each other. You know, working with corner to corner. I said that about 3 different people. You know, that they're like, "Hey, Troy, we're going to be doing this with them. We're going to be doing a Bible, business owner Bible study, and all of these things." Like I met them through certain people that know you, and I'm like, okay, it's going right because it's the message that I want to convey. It's just
that's
that
definitely what's going right.
And that's the whole thing is why we asked, why people ask us why we named it Legacy. That was my whole point in '06 with the concept. Was like, I need something that's going to live on beyond me. You know, my nephew helps me time to time. Like I tell him all the time, you don't have to be a screen printer, but you do know how to screen print. Seriously, it's like, because what's the point of me doing something and I break my back, your mom gets sick, and you're 18 years old, and you just let this squander because you didn't know how or want to know how. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it goes with me. So I'm like, those things are going right, and you know, just seeing, like I say, the growth of our community. When I say the community, I mean all of Middle Tennessee. They get it. Because I mean, being from here, dude, like it's people that don't know, the people that don't understand. It's been a long way coming. I'm 36 years old, and I put it this. It's just the cultural differences. Where when I was 18 years old, we were doing parties in Nashville. I literally had to hire people of other races and of other sexes to go get the contracts with the buildings. So I literally had a Asian person, Hispanic person, and a white person that worked for me, depending on who the building owner was. And some people look at that as like it's a color thing. No, I was like, no, that's a business, social, economic thing.
Wow.
And I just understood it enough that I didn't care. The color was known. It's like we're in the South. You're in America. It's like, do you get mad at what the past was, or do you see what the business is and you apply business ethics to it? And now I'm telling my cousin that's 18 years old and can go rent out a club, or any club in Nashville, as long as he has the money. That was in the 90s. He's like, yeah, right. I'm like, dude, no, it wouldn't happen. I said, because no clubs in Nashville, besides a few, and if they were downtown, they were the ones getting shut down every other week, played hip hop. You know, now it's like you can go to any honky tonk and it's hip hop playing. You know what I mean? You can go to any club in Nashville that's playing urban music and there's pop, and if the country music song was big enough, they'll mix it in with the remix. But if you didn't even have that, you know what I mean? And that's the beautiful part of it. So when you can see people that took those chances and opportunities to grow from there to now, and you've been in the mix the whole time,
that's really cool.
It's beautiful. Because I said I was 18 at that time, I'm 36, that's half the time of it is now. I've seen a lot change. I've seen a lot of people that couldn't get those same buildings for rent now own their own businesses, own their own buildings and rent it out. You know, so I could tell someone that and they could be like, yeah, Nashville's still this. I'm like, you don't get it. And it's all positive change because it's the mindset changes. When the mindset changes, that's when the dollars change. You know, like I tell anybody, it's like they always say, you got to be in your heart. It's got to be in your head first. Because before it transfers to your heart, it's got to go through your thought process. I don't care what it is unless it's from God. And if it's from God, you don't have to worry about your mind because you're going to do it and people want to think you're crazy. But if it's of the world, you got to put it through your head, rationalize it, and if it goes through your heart, you're going to do it. And that's finances. And that's one thing I harp on with people of color, black people, is that we're the biggest consumer population in the United States, but we're the only group of people that you can't go to a town and be like, you got a little Chinatown, you got a little Mexico, you got a little Italy. You don't have a little black town. And it's like, you know what I'm saying, it's not a knock on anything, it's a recognition. If you're going to spend your money, not just say spend it with black people, spend it with the people that think and understand you. You get what I'm saying? That's the name of the game across the board with anybody. Like I tell people all the time, don't shop with me. Like, you know, a lot of people of a mindset come in and they work with me. They are black and say, I want to work with you because you're black owned company. Tell them all the time, don't work with me because I'm black. Work with me because I'm good. I mean, a snake is a snake. Yeah. It doesn't matter. A snake could be the same color as you. He's going to bite you. I said, but if you work with somebody that's good, you never have to worry about that because you're going to be in good company with the next person that introduces you to.
It's so real.
And that's the mindset I approach with. Everything. You know, I've been in situations where I work with people and they're looking at me as an outsider, and when I notice that, I say, do you want the business owner perspective or do you want the mid-30s black guy perspective from the South? Because they're both going to be real, but you can both have to deal with them, so which one do you want me to give you? You know what I mean? And that's it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people look at me and they don't get it. They'll be like, you're from Franklin, where all the money's from. And I'm like, you said it right. Where all of a lot of money's from. That don't mean a lot of people have money. It made a better diverse thinking. You get what I'm saying? Because I just didn't go to school with all black kids. I just didn't go to school with all white kids. It's cut down the middle. You just knew who had what. So it made you think of who can I really be approachable to as a person? Who can I endear myself to as a person? Because just because I go to school with you and you have money, you still might be a weirdo. But that's what I love. I love weirdos because, like I tell people, all my friends are weirdos because they know who they are. You know what I mean? Perception is reality. When somebody is weird, that person is either accepted that or they're denying it. If you can accept it, then I can be friends with you. You know what I mean? Because you're never going to have to lie to me about who you are or what you want. Everybody else that denies their weirdness is the pure person you need to watch out for. They're really living in the matrix to me. Because their perception is their reality instead of saying, hey, you get what you see. You know, that's it. My whole life, everybody's like, your friends are different, your friends are weird. It's just, for instance, me and my business partner, Samaj, went to school together. We were staying in the same dorm room together. People would meet me that know me for being a social dude, kicking it, partying, and everything. And they'd be like, you know Samaj? And I'm like, that's my best friend. They're like, no way. He's in this club, this, that, that. You got all A's, this, that. You got C's. You kick with the football players. You kick with everybody. I'm like, exactly. That's the whole, like, the duality of it all. It's like, my dad used to say, never tell your left hand what your right hand does. Because then you would have two left hands.
You got all the one-liners.
But that's what it is, man. But that's the principles I really apply because it is what it is. It's like those one-liners are it encapsulates it all. The whole thought process. And that's why I say is like when you put that thought process into action of saying, hey, this is my principles of life. Give more than you take, and you'll always be cool. That's what I apply to, man. It goes back to my mom raising me as her only son. She used to always tell me this. As long as you're handling your business, God will take care of the rest. So every time I feel off track, I ask myself, are you handling business? And business is not just money transaction, it's your whole walk of life. That's your business. I'm Troy Inc. Like many people said, you read it before, you are a corporation, you are a company. And on a whole nother level, if you want to get onto it, you have a birth certificate and a social security number. You're on somebody's books. So why not be on your own? You know? And that's all. You know, it's hard running a business, but I put it like this: another one line. I'd rather create the headache and deal with it than somebody else create a headache and I have to wake up and go deal with it.
Their headache.
Yeah, because it's a monkey telling another monkey which banana to eat. And at the end of the day, they will knock you over your head just to eat the same banana they told you to eat.
That's accurate.
And I've been there. I've seen it happen. One reason I left Vanity Fair was a lady that was very close to me, and she was been there 20 years, and she told me she took the job back in the 80s before you had to have a college degree to work with them, just so she can get her furniture off of Lelway. 3 kids later, 25 years later, she's still there. And I took that as not a bad thing. I took that, like I said, once again, a dream deferred, and got comfortable in saying, hey, I'm making more money than I ever thought I would make. That's fine. That's certain people's life. That's people's lives. And some people love that, but it's like me being an entrepreneur, me being a free spirit. I just took that as one more check on my board. Like, don't let that be you. And if it is you, be happy in that and serve it completely. You know what I mean? So it's like, since that's not me, I don't knock her. I'm just like, you gave me an insight on some wisdom, and I took it from there and applied it to how I needed to, still in a positive manner. You know, and that's a lot of my friends. They come to me and they ask me about business, and I tell them straight up, it's like, you're a better manager than an entrepreneur. I can give you a job, you can manage the heck out of it. I tell you, go build up a system how to hire people, and it never happened. You know, so I just try to, like I say, look to them where they could be. It's like, hey man, you'll be a perfect manager, or you'll be a perfect creator, but you can't manage it. You know, so I don't shortstop them on what they're able to do. I make them look at what their strengths are, really take their own SWOT analysis. You know, because I have to do it all the time. And I know my whole weakness is with me, is being very, very, very analytical. Like, I could take a big picture and say, hey, I see A and Z, but I'm going to skip a couple of those letters to get to Z. And that's what my business partner, Samaj, is he was an English major. That's why we work so good together. Yeah. Analytics. Yeah. English major, he looks at every little thing.
And he's an English guy?
Yeah, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Writing papers, understand all the details. He's like, Troy, that's a great idea, but if you think about this, I'm like, gosh, dude, just go. It's going to be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
so yeah, and that's it. And I just try to figure out those balances, because being left brain and right brain at the same time is crazy, because you can understand artists and you can understand the business of it. And then you are an artist, but you also know you got to handle business. Yeah. So when people can be an artist and be free and get paid to do it, it bothers me, because I'm like, dude, I want to be free. I want to get paid to do it, but hey, I got to create the opportunity, pave the way, and then come back and find some space to be that little part of it. You know, and that's why I go back to the whole philosophy of allowing people to do what they do. Yeah. If you're an artist and I know that I can get you sponsored to do this business, I shouldn't worry about guiding your creativity. I should worry about connecting to the sponsor. Because once you're connected, I'm able to have a conversation with Trent that brings in the positivity of it. But if I focus on like, dang, how's he being able to get this much free time to be an artist? Because I'm not understanding my equaling power that he does not have for balanced brain, I just skew the whole picture for everybody. And that's just how I try to keep over like an eagle's eye view. Like, I see the land, but I know where I'm landing. You know, and if I can keep on tracking this path, and through my mental GPS, I can rub off on people. Yeah, it's like, hey, go this way, dude. Go this way.
Come land right over there.
Right here, dude. I let you in space. You know.
That's real.
So that's it.
Cool. Kind of one of the closing things is you've been familiar with Spread the Positive for a while. One of our favorite questions, I guess, is who's the first person you think of when you hear the term Spread the Positive now that you're a little more familiar and been around it and stuff?
That's a good one. That's a real good one. You're making me think, man. God, that's a good one. Because I know a lot of positive people that come to mind. I tell you straight up off the top what came to my mind, man. It's a gentleman, goes by, his name is John Gotti, Jongotty. You can look him up on social media. He's a friend, more like a mentor to me as well. Good guy. I mean, every time I call on him, he always challenges me to look at everything in multiple perspectives, and then figure out which one I can give myself solely to that's going to create actual impact. So therefore, whatever you really want to focus on is good, do that, and don't worry about nothing else. And that's what he always hearts me on, because it's like, you always have these great ideas, and he's like, you always pull them off, but which one is drawing you to do what you know you're called for? And that's it. I mean, for him, it's like, everybody I know that from my creative circle and the people I know, all look to him as a beacon because of what he's been able to accomplish and what he's doing and how he does it to help people. You know what I mean? They call him, you know, he's pretty much the OG in our circle, because he's the first guy we've known that really stepped out here. He's been a teacher, he's been an entrepreneur, he's been a journalist, he's been a philanthropist, and he's still level-headed. You know what I mean? Like, the only guy I know that has a McDonald's commercial shot about him was not talking about food. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Speak on that a little
bit.
What does that
mean? What it means was they did a series of commercials over influencers, social media influencers, and entrepreneurs. And they asked them why they do what they do and how they do what they do. And so for one of the biggest corporations in the world to speak to you about what you do and how you make an impact, and not to peddle their stuff, to me, that's impact. That's and I mean, for me to be able to pick the phone up and call you, and you sit down and literally give me a brotherhood talk, and not, hey, I'm big bro, little bro. Nah, man, what are you doing? What are you trying to get done? You know, and everybody around me, the same thing. They see that, and then I see him move with them according ways. Like, they're moving within a passionate way, he moves with them in a passionate way. If they're moving in the way they're trying to utilize his services, he charges them. You know what I mean? Because he understands their mission. They're there to make money. They want to make money off my experience and my consulting. Boom. Can't knock that. But anytime he sees his opportunity to help you, he's not about that. It's about, what is your problem and how can we solve it in the most impactful way to bigger people. And that's what I always look for, is like, what am I doing and how can it connect to more people based upon the tools that are given. That's it. That's it. And I don't look at nothing else, because if I look at anything else, I get lost in the moment. And that's what I feel like anything else is, even social media at times. That's why we don't post as much as people think we do. And I'm like, if I don't have anything to say, I'm not putting it out there. What's the point? And then when I do put it out there, there's more value to it. Because I'm not every 30 minutes looking up and seeing something. You know what I mean? And then you have people that have wiser senses that, like I could say of John, that can come back and break down the new algorithms to me that he's been studying. So, and you know what I mean? Which makes more sense to me when he comes back and say, hey, don't post more than 2 times a day, because I won't see it anyway. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what do you mean by that? It's like, because the algorithms are based upon when you post early in the morning, that's why they make it where it's not linear anymore. You might post 3 times a day, I might not see it until Monday. Yeah. So if you post it 1 time a day, it's going to come across my timeline quicker.
We need a real search on that. We need a full search on that.
I mean, he just gives me those insights, because like I tell him, I know how to connect to people organically by talking to them and socially seeing their needs, but my weakness is I don't flush out the marketing to the point where I care about understanding computers. If I understand you'll get the message out in the computer. It's like I don't watch news. If it's real news, I would have heard it from you guys before we even started the interview. You know what I mean? That's it, man. I mean, so John, man, this is shout out to John Gotti.
Shout out to John.
J-O-T-T-Y?
Yeah, J-O-T-T-Y. Yo, look him up, man. That's not his real name. He's not a gangster.
Right. That's 2 for 2. Do need to clarify that.
Clarify all of that. Yeah.
All right, so
I got one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
So, well, first of all, I appreciate you, for the bill event, what you did. That was great. It was really positive experience for me. I got a son that's he's about to turn 18 next month, and he actually got to do some of his Tennessee Promise volunteer hours at the event. So
word.
You know, he was just like, man, this was better than
They're doing something else.
Yeah, and it was really, the music, the energy. So he got something from it. So with that, with him about to go, he's gonna go get a trade, but he's also talked about owning his own business one day. So what would the 36-year-old you tell the young 18-year-old
me? Make more mistakes. Make more mistakes, take more chances. Because at that time, you gotta look at it. It's like you have more opportunities to make a mistake that you can bounce back from than you do at 36. And as long as it's in a positive way and it's a constructive way, somebody will always be there to help you get up. Because the first time you're over 18, you make a decision that's not going to be impactful to the community, you're doomed to suffer for it for the next 18 years. Whether that's having a record, whether that's not being able to be employed, whether that's putting yourself in a position where your health is at jeopardy. You know what I mean? So if it's the other way around, it's just like my grandfather told me when he gave me a helping hand one time I didn't ask for it. He's like, "You're trying to do right, right?" He's like, "So it's only right that I help you." So I was like, just make more mistakes, man. That's all I would say. Make more mistakes, because that's the only reason I got here. I was not scared to take those chances. And now I look back on it, it's like older I've gotten, I'm making more calculated moves, and then those calculated moves sometimes keeps me I feel hindered in myself, because like I know what'll work. And that's why I put that on the wall. Those 2 things on the wall. Anything is possible, mind, body, and soul. Those are 2 representatives of me and my partner, business partner. He's mind, body, and soul. Anything's possible. So anytime I doubt anything, and I'm sitting there looking, I look at that. And don't worry about anything else, because I understand like that opportunity is only there if I create it. And creation comes with mistakes. You know what I mean? It comes with mistakes, man. Anything, I look at it, anything that was thought about, anything that you see from this chair to those keys to those signs, it was once an idea. Now, how many mistakes did they make before they got that perfectly? And how many people added to their mistakes to make those mistakes what it turned into? But they sit back and held their hand. But I sit back and say, nah, it's not the right time for the build. It's not the right, it'll never be. It's like a kid in marriage. Neither one of those are ever going to be the perfect time. You're going to either do it and learn from that mistake, or do it and somebody's going to help you get through what you might consider a problem. But if it's done for the right reason, it wasn't a mistake. You know what I mean? But I say just jump out the window, dude. Just jump out the window. And if you got your pops is here, dude, make him help you. Maybe. Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely share that.
One of the closing, that was good, man. I appreciate that. Another closing thing is grateful for 4 things you're most grateful for right now. What you got on that?
grateful for family. That's always my number one thing I'm always grateful for. I have a huge family. We still are able to come together every Sunday without making a big deal about it and have dinner at my aunt's or my mom's house every Sunday. They don't have to call, they don't have to do nothing. It's between 12 and 13 people to just show up.
That's so cool.
I'm thankful for all my friends that support me and back me just as an individual, you know. I mean, it's a lot of things I'm thankful for. 4 is not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just keep going on. Food, clothing, and shelter, and a stable mind. I don't need. It don't require me a lot, man.
All right, I got a thing I've been brainstorming. I'm gonna call it the Bob Levy. Grateful for, kind of outside the lines there.
Yeah,
So
Bob
what you got?
Levy, no, big Bob. Yeah.
Outside the lines, if you want to get past.
No, you cool, bro. I mean, everything to me is it's all in lines because it's life. Like I don't separate from what I do. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I really lived it. So I mean, it's all in the lines. I'm grateful for you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you being able to sit here and ask me a question that possibly somebody else can listen to and get something from. I mean, because the story is what needs to be told, regardless. And like I said, that creates a legacy. That creates a chain link of people spreading the positive.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, the smallest things I can be grateful for is that y'all took the time to even consider to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that makes me have to do on my end. I'm obligated to reflect on what I tell you, which continues that lineage. For real.
Yeah,
Because I mean, you could be sitting down, we could be having a conversation on something that's totally does not mean anything to no one. You know what I mean? And I'll still be grateful for that conversation, but what did I gain and what could I share with somebody else from it?
Yeah, man. Everything you're about is everything spread the positive. I remember first time we had lunch with William Moore. Shout out to William. Big help with all this spread the positive stuff. But man, I'll never forget that lunch. It was just like every single thing he said, I was just like, yes. I was just like that's exactly how I view everything, and what we're ultimately trying to get to is such a really, really similar place. So it's really cool, man. Really excited about future collaborative efforts and just keeping this thing going. Really, really grateful for the shirts. They're getting a little bit of traction. Some folks are posting those on stories and just getting a little influence out there. So huge shout out to Legacy Inc. here in Murfreesboro and Troy. Just one of the most stand-up guys I've ever come across. So really appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
And looking forward to keeping this moving, man.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's just keep getting more like-minded people together.
Yeah, that's all it really takes.
That's all it takes, man. I'm telling you, that's the biggest realization that I've come to 10 years later.
Yeah.
Is that everyone is not going to think like you, but there is someone that thinks like you. You know, not every, you just got to find more of those people.
Man.
Yeah, because it's be around them, man. I mean, that's what it just comes down to, because a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people really, really don't get that. They go out here and try to be with the masses, and it's like, no.
Or if they see something that different from like what they think they fundamentally believe, they're done
cut it
with
off.
it, and I cannot stand that either, man.
And that just limits yourself, man, and that keeps you where you cannot be utilized on a high level.
Like how people look at like meditate, and they'll think that that's like anti-Christian.
Yeah.
Like it's not praying.
But
like it's
people
the
gotta
exact same
understand
thing. Like, it really is.
You pray regardless of what you do. It's how you pray is what people see as different. I mean, sitting here and thinking great things and hoping and aspiring for great, that's a prayer.
Yeah,
it's a prayer.
Putting
it's all
it out there.
Yeah, it's
Law
a prayer.
of attraction.
Yeah, and it's real. Like people say, thoughts are things.
Yeah.
So you know, even if I have a bad feeling, you have to be more aware. If you don't say it, it's better off, because no matter what, that relationship changes between you and that person you said that to.
True story.
You know, and I've had those things happen to me hand in hand, and I just go back to just knowing that everything I say, I try to walk through it and know it's real, because it's been examples in this building alone. I can tell you it's nothing but God telling me that you're in the right position. Just keep doing what you're doing and seek me, and it's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's been small instances. It's been instances I've told Trent before, like the first time we ever looked for an employee, we were running tooth and nail, like dang. We up here all day, up all morning. Man, we need somebody who can come in, work 15 to 20 hours a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're leaving for lunch. It's what we're gonna go talk about at lunch. I'm walking back to the counter because I leave something here. The guy comes in with his resume. I just quit a company across town. They didn't respect me. I need 15 hours a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I literally, I go in the bathroom. I literally cry to myself because I see the connections.
Yeah. That happened. Yeah.
Another time after that, we're changing the sign outside, just like it says now, experienced screen printer needed. As I'm changing the sign, a homeless guy rides up on a bike. He says, I used to screen print for a company in Nashville. I had to move back to a halfway home in Murfreesboro.
Wow.
And I sit there and I look like, you look sketchy. But then I tell myself, did you not just ask for this?
Wow.
So if you deny him, you deny God. If you deny God, where are you?
Yeah.
And hey bro, you hired that day on the point. Chris worked for us for 8 months. Good worker. I had to slow down, teach him, which showed me how to teach and train somebody else. Crazy incidents come up, he disappears. I check out what happened to him to make sure he ain't,
Right.
he checked out, moved back to Nashville, got into some things that had nothing to do with us. So I was like, cool, but it made me think that for those 8 months, it put us in a position to have everything else we need to do for the next 3 years. And I'm literally, the day he quit, everything else turned on over. So we didn't miss a beat without him being here because we had gotten a routine. And I mean, just those things, and that's just that like-mindedness is like, okay, I asked for something through God, I apply myself, and then he put like-minded people in a position, which changed my thoughts. Because now I'm thinking, okay, don't just hire someone because they can print. Hire someone that can help you grow while you also learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the patience that it teach me to slow down and teach somebody to print. That's what I say I don't have because I need to be doing all this, but that's what I need to cultivate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's tough.
And then that's it, man. I mean, it's just all about really finding more people like your mindset and believing in yourself and the powers that be.
That's it. That's everything. Spread the positive.
Spread the positive.
Spread the positive.
Legacy Inc. for the bill. OJ Sincere here.
Sincere.
Yeah.
Man, Troy, it's been a pleasure.
Yes,
You know what
sir.
I'm saying? Sitting down in this conversation. I definitely got some takeaways.
Me too.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But, you know, hearing your life story, I appreciate you sharing that.
It's all love,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? And definitely peace. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Cool. We'll wrap it up, fellas. Appreciate you both, and we'll keep it moving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you,
brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace.
Sweet. It's
Peace.
tough, man. That was a good one.
Y'all are good, man.
Yeah.
Y'all are a good team. Y'all let it just, for real, y'all let it roll, man. It's like rah, 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 rah. It's like Outkast.
Oh man,
For real.
It's smooth.
Smooth. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like y'all can choose. I don't know. I just like it's flowing
You gotta
back.
be big boy.
It's
Like,
flowing back and forth so smoothly. I'm just like, all right. I'm like, this is not their first rodeo.